Hey everyone, welcome to the 5 Beer Plan. I'm Brian, and this is the ongoing saga of an Everyman's Ale Trail. In this episode, I recap Burning Foot Beer Fest 2022, go gluten-free with Nick LaVelle from Brewery Nyx in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and review Double IPA, also from Brewery Nyx. In this segment of Tales from the Trail, I'm mixing it up a bit and recapping Burning Foot Beer Festival 2022. Burning Foot, as I affectionately call it, has grown into one of the largest beer festivals in Michigan. Certainly, it's the largest one held on the sand in Michigan. It was started by the Lakeshore Brewers Guild in 2015 and has been steadily growing ever since. From the website, the Lakeshore Brewers Guild promotes the local craft beer industry and the Lakeshore's natural beauty. As a supplement to the Michigan Brewers Guild, the Lakeshore Brewers Guild is focused on counties that touch Lake Michigan. The states included are Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. Throughout these counties, the Guild is working with its members to build the Lakeshore Ale Trail, a region rich in craft breweries, natural beauty, and the economic benefits that flow from successful, locally owned and oriented businesses. Joint advertising and cooperative support allow Guild members to grow while also establishing the region as a beer tourism hotspot. Through these collaborative efforts, the Lakeshore Brewers Guild is becoming a driving force in supporting both its members and local economies. This year, Burning Foot featured 93 breweries that equated to over 800 different beers to choose from. My brother, cousin, good friend and I first attended back in 2018. Aside from COVID, we haven't missed a year since. The price of admission gets you 15 4-ounce tasters of anything at the festival. You may also purchase additional drink tickets for a nominal fee, and the proceeds historically have gone towards a local food bank or local charity. So for a change of pace here on the podcast, I thought it might be fun to do some on-location thoughts from the Flight Sand Beach at Pierre Marquette Park during the festival in between music acts, featuring Jason, Matt, and Todd. Here we go!
So we're sitting here at Burning Foot Beer Fest 2022. We just are finishing up the VIP hour, and all the huddled masses, the ones less fortunate, are now coming in. So it's been nice to have the place to ourselves. 98 breweries, 800 plus beers, live music, food trucks, the beach. What more could you want? So I'm here with my cousin, my brother, and good friend, and we're here for, I don't know, 4th or 5th time. And it's always a great time out here on the beach at Pierre Marquette in Muskegon. So we're just going to go around the horn. So Jay, what's your favorite beer you've had today?
Oh, so far I think, I had a really good Kolsch. Trying to remember which brewery that was from.
That's from Archival, I think.
Archival had a really good Kolsch. It's kind of one of the first Kolsches I've had. Of course, Todd had with a very hoppy end, pretty hoppy. Normally, I know that some of the Kolsches I've had aren't as hoppy, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bitter. It had a really good flavor to it. So, I give that a pretty good plus. We've also had a couple good sours so far, but got us some other things on the list. There was a couple people that weren't ready yet that we'll have to double back on to try them. But had a good hamburger Mikey burger and some music cranking up and a really good Burning Foot so far.
Awesome. Mattia, what about you, brother?
I had that cherry bomb like that. Had a couple sours also I like.
Cool.
Had a couple of hazy IPAs, but I don't know who from where because I was just hitting it, so I can't tell you where they were from.
On a hot day like today, I mean, it's low 80s, which is nice. We've been here when it's been 80s and 90s, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
But it's nice to have a good sour and IPA to just really quench your thirst. And brother, there's a lot of them here today.
Boy, there is.
Yeah, there is.
There's a lot.
I mean, you look at the map, and I mean, the first couple times we were here, it was quite small. But now, I mean, you look at the map, and holy smokes, there's 95 spots. So you've got 95 different breweries here, and you've got, stuff that from someone who wants an organic beer, which Brian will talk about on one of his podcasts later on, or to a sour to heavy. I mean, everything's here for you.
That's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. I think it's probably one of the largest beer gatherings in the state of Michigan in the summer, that's for sure. So, Todd, what have you had so far, man?
The Archival Kolsch was the best.
Awesome. So we always set up here right outside the good old hop torch.
Yeah,
And
I would call it the torch. Hot torch.
The
hot torch. Man, the thing goes off about every 5 minutes or so, and it always freaks me out. So anyway, so for me, I had an interesting organic beer. It was an IPA from LaGros out of Chicago, Illinois. And it's pretty cool to have something unique like that that's featured here, because I know organic is a tough thing to do in today's day and age. So anyway, we'll be back later.
Oh, only got 4 tickets cards. That's not right. Well, man,
You had the free in there.
right, but I've had more than 4.
Yeah, I think you went up the creek.
I think I noticed a few of mine are not out of my book yet either.
I think so too. Whoops.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So we're here between bands here, and a little bit of silence for a moment. But it's always fun once the general admission opens up to people watch. And
Yeah, the word of the day's necklace. Necklace, food necklace, I guess you could say. Where you're basically carrying a full grocery bag around your neck. Full of
So, I don't know, what is that? You know, I'm honestly, I mean, is it really necessary to have a necklace full of pretzels or bags of chips or whatever to cleanse your palate? I don't know, honestly. I mean, what do you think? I mean, after you're like 4 or 5 beers in, does it really matter?
Not really. I mean, I'll wash mine out with water and go at it. I mean, I don't know if you need a 5-pound thing of sausage around your neck with some cheese to try to, cleanse your palate to go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got an armored sausage here, but, I don't think, I don't know. I guess it's up to different people. They like
Depends how serious.
Yeah, I mean, pretzels and stuff, yeah, cleanse your palate, you're serious, but yeah.
But yeah, after 5.
Yeah, I mean, after 5.
I mean, seriously, does it really matter at that point?
Really.
I don't think so. I mean,
I think it's more of just see how cool I am.
I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Honestly, I mean, if I'm a beer connoisseur and I'm going around and I'm chewing pretzels between beers, I mean, maybe I'm getting more thirsty. I don't know, but honestly, I don't really think that it makes any difference in the ability to taste my beer any better.
So if you're going to get some food, just go over to the food trucks that run local businesses. I mean, I had an awesome burger from Hamburger Mikey's, and I know you guys had a really good burrito and taco from Abishi, and you can't go wrong with that faya food, And had some fried mushrooms on the other end there, and a Philly cheesesteak. So I suppose people probably do that so they don't have to buy food here, I guess. But support the local businesses. That's all. That's what it's about.
I think that's really cool too. Again, I think probably 99% of the breweries here are Michigan breweries,
Yep.
and so we really truly are getting a great taste of Michigan beer and Michigan food and Michigan people, I think too. So, not that that's a bad thing.
I'm just interested in how much stuff they actually let you bring in here. I mean, people have all kinds of stuff that they bring in.
So, in all fairness, the first year we came back in 2018, we had no idea what we were doing. We didn't bring lawn chairs, we didn't bring anything. So we stood around for 4 or 5 hours and got sunburned and had a little too much to drink. I'll admit to that for myself. Nobody else did, but it was me. The source of a great meme.
You had to try all the stouts first. Yeah.
So the following year, we're like, you know what? Let's bring our bag chairs along. And then last year, we're like, you know what? Let's bring a beach umbrella along. So we're getting a little smarter in our old age, I think.
Yeah, finally.
So, it's a lot of fun out here on the beach. It's low 80s. The sand is toasty if you don't have your shoes on, but there's at least a nice breeze coming off the lake. And my goodness, blue sky, clouds, a little bit of ganja going through the air.
Yeah, true. Legal Michigan. Yeah.
It's legal here, so.
Well, you've got right now. I've tried some good stuff. I'm trying to hit the sours. I'm a big sour guy. Local here, Muskegon Rake Brewery, they're known for their sours. The guy, they use a lot of fresh fruit. I had a really good one that had pineapple mango in it called Bad Acid. That was really flavorful. You could definitely taste the pineapple, definitely taste the mango. Very, very flavorful.
Awesome.
Awesome. Sunshine Sour from Third Nature out of Rockford. They also, I mean, that had a great flavor to it. One of my favorites after that, of course, was a Raspberry Gosa from Eastern Market out of Detroit. One of those places that maybe, you know, here over on the west side of the state you wouldn't get a chance to go to, so it's kind of good to get a good taste. Really good. Cherry Bomb from Austin Brothers, that was pretty good. I know Matt had that. That was pretty good. It had a really good flavor. The cherry wasn't overpowering. It was right there. It wasn't overpowering. So there's been some good stuff so far. I'm not sure what other people have, and we kind of write down our stuff and do a different, eclectic vibe of who likes IPAs, who likes what. So we're all kind of getting different things. So, Brian, what'd you get?
Yeah, so I will say I stopped by City Build. I haven't stopped by there since pre-pandemic when I was down there on business. And as I was talking to Rob, who's one of the brewers there, he said they've totally changed the recipes and their whole approach to brewing. So it was cool. I had this Werewolves of Michigan. It was a really nice kind of Michigan approach to, I'd say, a West Coast IPA. And then I went to Hopside, and they had a really good wheat that was made with jalapeno. It had super, super great jalapeno pepper on the nose, but it wasn't spicy at all, which I really liked, and it had a great wheat profile. So, again, just any kind of beer you want here, you can get here. So it's pretty cool.
Well, I want to add on to the City Build. I forgot to add one I had. While you were having that one, I was having their Mango Monroe Vice. It was a very good kettle sour with mango in it, and it wasn't too bad. It wasn't overpowering. Very good flavor and scent on that. I know it kind of go off kind of how it smells and just kind of how it tastes. And it wasn't overpowering. Pretty good. I mean, only a 3.1%, but still, they did a really good job with that. Of course, talking to the brewer, he's trying to, do some few different things. So really good there.
Did it have mango in it?
Yeah, it had mango in it. Yeah, mango. Had mango. Okay. Word of the day.
Trying to help.
Yep.
We appreciate that. But yeah, anything you want, you can get out here. We've been discussing is it seems like the music is pretty one-dimensional when it comes to Burning Foot every year. It's always pretty much the same thing. Alternative bands, and it's not awful, but I feel like they could bring in something that was maybe, hell, even a cover band would be great.
Yeah.
Something that would play some classic music that everybody could get into, could enjoy a little bit.
Yeah, there's more old folks here than younger crowd. I think. Right?
I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, you've got people from 21 to 71, right?
Sure.
I just feel like an Eagles cover band or.
Well, have something for us too.
Right, exactly. Or mix it up, like you said.
Mix it up.
Have some alternative bands, have some classic rock, have some punk. That'd be fun.
Old folk band, something. But it is what it is. It's still a lot of fun.
It is. Again, it's a great deal. You get live music and a lot of beer. And
I was worried at first, but the people showed up.
They did.
I thought, oh my God, but then it was, yeah.
And I think the people, like you said, the people have come, man.
Yeah, I think so too.
A lot of people standing up front, watching the bands, hanging out. But it's not like out of control.
Not a bit. I haven't seen one thing.
Me either.
I've not seen an argument. I've not seen anybody upset. I've not seen that.
No. And there's been some police presence. There's been some security presence around, but it's not been
hardly
overt.
At all. Yeah, hardly at all.
Maybe there's some undercover people we're not realizing, but it's been great.
Also, I've not seen any issues here, though, ever.
No, never. We've never seen any issues with we've been here.
No.
And we've come for, we were just talking about this, right? So it's, 18, 19, 21, 22, so 4 years we've come here.
Yeah.
And it's always been great. There's never been a problem. If there was any place to have a problem, it'd be a place with scads of breweries, people drinking beer, live music, and just shit happening.
Yeah, well, we're also not here towards the end of the night, though, either. So, but that's a whole other ballgame.
That's very true.
That might be all the action is then.
Maybe we need to stick around and wait till after hours and see what happens.
We'll all start fighting.
Saturday night's all right for a fight.
Right.
No, I think overall, they do a really good job. with organization.
Yes.
I mean, there's some snafus. Well, there goes the hop thing again.
Yep.
Heating the back of my head up.
I know. Man, that kicks the heat out, man.
But no, the organizers do a great job.
They
And,
do a good job here. And they always have a big volunteer crew here.
For
too.
sure. And an event like this really couldn't work if you didn't have a good volunteer base.
Right, I think
That's
so.
very, very true. Because we saw how many hundreds of people coming in with
Yeah.
their volunteer badges. I mean,
They have to have a lot of them here.
yeah.
A lot.
And even for breweries like Starving Artist out here over to the left, they've got a little haunted house you can walk through, and they've got, I don't know, some sort of a balloon popping thing going on. People are lining up for that stuff.
Yeah. Well, they're the only booth that has an interactive thing.
You're right. You're exactly right. And I'll tell you what, all those guys been wearing masks, clown masks all day in the sun.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're probably dying underneath. They're like, give me some beer.
I would also like to mention that during various breaks at the charging stations or water coolers, it's only natural to strike up a conversation with fellow beer lovers. Besides chatting with several brewers who I hope to get on future episodes of the podcast, I had the chance to talk with Susie and her husband Damien, who've attended the festival since 2017. Kurt and Jackie have been to Burning Foot every year since its inception and also brought along their son-in-law Ryan this year. Unbeknownst to me, they were friends of Todd and fooled me into thinking that they were followers of the podcast. And finally, there was Matt and his daughter Morgan, who are both big craft beer lovers. Matt, don't forget to send me a message when you're in the region. All in all, Burning Foot Beer Fest 2022 is a great time. The time always seems to go so quickly, and now I have to wait another year to see what happens next. Welcome to Barstool Banter. I'm sitting down virtually with Nick LaVelle from Brewery Nyx at their Grand Rapids, Michigan location. Well, Nick, welcome. Glad to have you on the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell me what your role is at the brewery?
Yeah, technically, my title is production manager and brewer.
Okay.
And I intend on taking that more into the production manager world as we get things rolling here. But for right now, for the last few months, I've been the only person kicking out the jams in the brew house. So, and packaging, it's a whole team effort, but we're doing everything all at the same time right now.
Right. How long has the brewery there been open in Grand Rapids?
The actual tap room space has only been open since July.
I assume in the tap room you're not serving any food then either, right?
We are serving some gluten-free snacks right now, but
okay.
the gluten-free food scene in Grand Rapids is also up and coming.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah.
working with people and trying to figure out what can we have in the tap room where we know that there's no cross-contamination, where we know it keeps this a safe space for people that have true celiac. The brew house I've been running for about 5 months now. So
Okay.
we're right in the middle. I think we're at 4.5 months. It's like a toddler.
All right. How long have you personally been brewing?
A decade.
Okay.
As of this month, I'm about to probably get a picture reminder of my first gig working at a tiny brew pub on the north side of Grand Rapids with one of my friends, Amanda, who now brews on the east side of the state.
Is that how you started out? Just using a homebrew kit then?
I did. If we want to go all the way back to homebrew days, it's probably been about 15 years.
Okay.
10 years ago is when I started commercially brewing. I had a friend who was in the industry a little bit here and there, washing kegs and doing stuff at breweries. And I told him hey, I really don't like beer, but I have a feeling that it's because I don't know what I'm talking about. My dad drank a lot of the Bud Lights of the world, and macro beer in general just kind of all tasted the same to me. So I said, hook me up. And he got me a 6-pack. I still distinctly remember at least 4 of those beers. I said, I like Guinness. So talk to me. And he was like, well, here's all the local craft that you're going to like. So there was a Dark Horse Scotty Karate, Yeti, by
yes.
Great Divide. I think I had an Old Rasputin from North Coast, and probably a Dirty Bastard from Founders was in there. Kind of a craft beer catch-all of big, beefy more malt forward beers, since I wasn't really into the light beer and I really didn't like IPAs yet. He just kind of set me on that track. And then he also is the one that kind of pushed me to start homebrewing. And then I got the bug.
Was your first homebrew kit, was it then a stout then or a porter?
I made the mistake of getting a beer that was like easy to make. I walked into the local homebrew store, which there was only one at the time. Now there's three, and one of them I helped open. The person behind the counter said, "Well, what do you want to make?" And I said, "Well, just hook me up with something easy for my first one." And it was a red ale, an Irish red. I didn't like the style very much, and I didn't execute the beer very well. I was just all around frustrated. So the very next batch that I made was a milk chocolate porter, and that turned out great. And so I redeemed my faith in myself with my second batch.
I gravitate to the IPAs a lot of times. So she bought me a Citra kit. So hopefully that won't be too disappointing.
The Citra is the auto tune of the hop world. It's a hard to fail with hop. But I'm also a hops nerd. I've become one. Now I'm fortunate enough to be working for a brewery where I get to kind of drive that bus a little bit.
So Michigan hops. Michigan's a great area for hop growing, from what I understand.
Yeah, the entire state of Michigan is slowly drifting towards becoming a temperate zone, or whatever the next tier south of us was for a long time. But when you talk about things like disease pressure and mildew rot, the things that you're talking about there, that's really the big thing that we're fighting against here in Michigan. And agriculture in Michigan's always been a big thing, but the shift over to hops by a lot of farmers didn't work out because they weren't quite prepared for that kind of, oh, well, if I get a good yield, then what do I do with them? And if I don't get a good yield, why did I not get a good yield? And you can't just lean on dumping more phosphates and nitrates into the ground to make them prop back up. It's like you said, it's a years long process. It reminds me of asparagus that way. But at the same time, asparagus, you're dealing with a knee-high plant, and what you're saying, like you got to go 30 feet up in the air to get some of this stuff. And once you put trellises in the ground, gone to all of that work, and then you get to the final product, and the final product, it's not a corn cob that you can sell at a farm stand. Now you need to process it and package it and make it so that not only is it saleable, but still accessible to brewers. So it gets complicated, and there are a few places that are big that have survived in the last decade. And the Michigan Hop Alliance folks are up from the Omena area, up near Traverse City.
Mm-hmm.
And one of our primary hop providers, I still get some hops from out in Yakima, and all of those hops are grown in the high desert. It reminds me of the north side of Grand Rapids apple community because it's a lot of transient work. There'll be people that migrate in for the hop season or for the vegetable season. They get all of this crazy, hop work done, and then they move on to the next place to do a different harvest. In Michigan, it's much more a team of 6 people. Co-ops are king. You try to get together with a few other farmers. You don't just try to do it on your own, but you usually don't bring in a whole bunch of labor. So the Michigan scene is very different than a lot of the big commercial growers. And the hops that grow here also taste different. There is a certain terroir, or whatever you want to call it, to them. So certain varieties that grow here taste wildly different than like their German counterparts, which is very cool to me. So I'm kind of trying to branch out and brainstorm a few beers that I can make that are going to be more Michigan hop centric.
The craft brewing industry in general tends to be very buy local, think local, drink local kind of focused. So why not, as a hop grower, why not try to embrace, your local breweries and vice versa? Why not embrace your local farm community and figure out ways that you can collaborate and get into contracts and such that you can use those hops moving forward. That's really cool. What is your favorite hop to use there at Brewery Nyx?
Some of the go-tos are the Amarillo and Mosaics of the world, but I know that one of my favorite hops from what grows in Michigan really well is Crystal. And so I'm hoping to try that kind of out in all different parts of an IPA over the next year. And then there are quite a few hops that I have in the cooler that I'm not using. For a long time, I was just a shift brewer. I was a big part of making lots of beer for no brain power. And now that I'm getting the chance to branch back out again, I'm trying not to repeat my brew pub mistakes of buying every hop that I want in 44-pound batches and then having to make 10 different IPAs. I'm playing around with little 1 pound or even 1 ounce packages of hops to just get kind of aroma notes. And I'll take them out, I'll rub them, I'll write down what my thoughts are on them. And then, once I commit to a batch of it, hopefully it sells. You could end up sitting on a beer for a very long time on accident. It's a balancing act that I am getting back in the groove of.
Sure. And being a small starting brewery as well, there's a lot of risk involved in that. Doing small batches certainly would be the way to go, just to make sure that you're getting the right kind of Brewery Nyx feel that you're trying to convey across with your beers.
So our small batch program, the kind of test batches that we've been doing right now, I've been all over the place with this summer because I just have been given basically free reign. The gluten-free community hasn't had a lot of access to really good craft beer in general. I think it's funny. Our bar manager and bartender here get a kick out of not telling people that it's gluten-free, because Grand Rapids is beer city according to many. And so we get a lot of traffic just from that. People that are trying to fill their little Brusaders ticket, or they're trying to make sure they check off every new brewery that comes into town. And they'll get halfway through a flight and then they'll hear somebody talking about their struggle with celiac or something like that. Just like overhear it across the pub. And they'll be like, wait, this is gluten free? How do you do that? What are you guys doing different? For a lot of beer nerds and beer snobs, it's like a shocking moment with a lot of expletives involved, because they're just like, how is that happening? I've tried gluten-free beer, it's awful. And so to try to get rid of that stigma and place it with good craft beer is a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, indeed. And that actually segues right into where I wanted to go next. Growing up, my dad in the summertime, what do you do after you mow your lawn? You pull out some light lager kind of beer. But he always enjoyed a good beer. And he was diagnosed with celiac several years ago. And so he's actually switched to craft cider as a result. There are a lot of people out there, whether they know it or not, that have that gluten intolerance, whether it's severe, because we have a family friend who it's really bad that he can't have it at all, otherwise it really messes him up. Or like my father, who will cheat from time to time and he'll sneak a beer or something that's got gluten in it. Is that really the inspiration behind the beer itself? Is just to hit that segment of the market that has been dealing with substandard gluten-free stuff for so many years?
That was the original concept behind the brewery, because Jessica, who opened the brewery, she has a gluten intolerance that's moderate. She's become very involved in that scene. And what happened was their family moved back from out on the Pacific Northwest area. And we're just totally confused why there was no beer here in Grand Rapids yet that she could drink. And so saw it as an opportunity and wanted to open a brewery that could fill her needs and the needs of that community. But interesting part about the food allergy world is that we really don't know tons about it yet, and we're working through that. Like, nutrition science is still very young. And so with somebody that's a full-blown celiac who can't cheat, a lot of those folks are in the world of the same kind of a thing as a peanut allergy. I mean,
Right.
It ruins you and you may have to go to the hospital. And it still gets a lot of lip service because there are a lot of people that are just gluten intolerant also. And
Right.
so there's a little bit of a mix 'em up going on there, where people kind of assume that because you're gluten free, it's a choice you're making. And there are a lot of folks who it's not a choice for. And
Yeah.
they've made the pilgrimage since we've been open to come to the tap room and support us. I had an acquaintance, I don't know, whatever. I haven't seen this person in a very long time, but I worked with her at Bell's Brewery down in
Okay.
Comstock, Michigan. And I just remember having conversations with her, and I was totally confused because she worked for a brewery. I want to say she works in sustainability, things like bioreactors and all kinds of cool stuff that the beer industry is just diving into these days, but she couldn't drink any of the beer. And they came up for either our grand opening or one of the first weekends. And she told me that she had never had a porter before or a stout.
Wow.
And it was just like, all right, well, here's a cherry stout and here's a regular stout. And let's get you trying some beer now that you finally don't have to suffer through it.
That's nice. And that probably brings a lot of pride, not only to Jessica, the owner, but you as a brewer yourself, knowing that, this segment of the population, like your friend, hasn't had a stout or a porter because of the grain content ever. And now, people can, and a good
Yes.
one at that.
Well, I try my hardest.
So you mentioned the tap room open. I think it opened, it was like the second week in July, because we were in Grand Rapids the week before you opened, visiting family. I happened to see on your Instagram feed, 4-packs available at some select stores in Grand Rapids. And I was like, you know what? I said, I've got to get some. I've got to try it out and see what this is all about. And if it's good, then I'm going to pass them along to my father. I bought a 4-pack of the lager, and I bought a 4-pack of the double IPA. I was stunned when I looked at the can. The grain bill said this. It said millet, rice, and sunflower seeds. But I thought, wow, that's very unique. Do you use that same kind of grain bill for all of your beers, or do you mix it up a little bit?
The short answer is yes.
Okay.
Most of the sugar content that we get from the grain is from millet and rice. And the reason for that being a lot of gluten-free breweries use sorghum, like a hybrid extract brewing almost, to bring it back to home brewing. And the processing of sorghum and the making of syrups can really lead to some astringent off flavors. I'm very sensitive to that flavor. So is Jess. And so when she was conceptualizing the brewery, she asked her favorite gluten-free brewers from out west, like, what are you doing differently? Why doesn't yours taste like XYZ? And it kind of all came down to raw materials, which just makes sense. As a brewer, the raw materials are king. If you're using them right, they'll taste great. But if you're using junk raw materials, and if you're using that stuff and it doesn't taste good, then it's not going to make good beer in the end. And so we're basically still using malt. It's just malted millet and malted rice instead
Right.
of malted barley.
Are there any challenges or limitations of styles based on that gluten-free grain bill that you're using?
Yes. the challenges part of it is really that's been where my head has been kind of in an endless loop for the last 4 months, because at first I inherited this brew house and this system, and I wasn't the person that engineered it. So, I walked into somebody else's brew house essentially, now using a new grain. I'm familiar with basically everything past that process point of like doing the mash with this grain. And so I knew I had all of that on lockdown, but I couldn't seem to get the same yield of wort. Our first, sugar base for the beer is the millet and grain need to convert into sugar in order for us to use that to make beer. And I was getting half the volume I, was trying to get, and struggling to eke out the right gravity with it. And now that I've kind of dialed all of that stuff in, I've started playing with the grain bills to see why I was encountering all of those weird little eccentricities. And it really does have to do with like the ratio of roasted millet to amber rice to like each different malted version of the same grain reacts very differently. And it's not a one-shot deal. It actually is a lot more involved in the malt science than I was used to with barley, because with barley and with wheat, throw it in together, boom, it does its job. As long as the pH isn't like, as long as you're not putting it into a bath of caustic, it's going to convert into sugar. Just sit and wait. But yeah, this has been an interesting learning curve. And now I'm getting it.
Last call.
It's nearly time to wrap things up, but first, one more for the road. This episode, I'm drinking a double IPA simply called Double IPA from Brewery Nyx. Clocking in at 7.2% ABV, it's described by the brewery as hoppy and tropical, dynamic and smooth. This is a gluten-free beer. The ingredients are water, millet, rice, hops, sunflower seeds, and yeast. Without further delay, so as I pour this into my pint glass, I can see that it pours a medium amber color. It's gorgeous. So I would classify this as just a very classically made double IPA. Again, it's got a nice malty backbone on it. It's definitely got that resinous, bitter hop bite to it. It's got a little bit of an interesting profile on the nose to it. It's definitely got a tad bit of citrus to it, but there's something else, and it may just be some of the other grains that are used in this particular beer. It's got a nice balanced finish on it. It's not overly hoppy. It's got just a little bit of a mouth coating at the end. That bitterness just kind of hangs on the back of your tongue a bit. Just makes you want to have a little bit more. So for those of my listeners out there who have never had a good gluten-free beer, I would certainly recommend anything that comes out of Brewery Nyx. So far I've had 4 different beers from them, and each one of them has been pretty darn good. I give this one 3.5 tasters out of 5 on the flight board. Cheers, Brewery Nyx. If you've got a beer you'd like me to drink and describe, leave a comment below. If you're a brewer and have one in mind, direct message me on Instagram and let's see what we can do. That's all for this episode of the 5 Beer Plan. With so many podcasts out there, thanks for choosing to listen to mine. Join me next time as I explore business trips, share another hop hack, and finish my conversation with Nick LaVelle from Brewery Nyx. Remember to hit the subscribe button to be notified of new episodes. I'd love to hear from you, so please follow me on Instagram, 5 Beer Plan 2022, and leave a comment and let me know what your favorite beer fest is. Be sure to support your local breweries, choose your beers wisely, and drink them responsibly. Until next time, keep walking your ale trail and stay thirsty, my friends.